Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo and Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys and you ladies, this literally does not work. So let's get open for business and let's wake up those football gods this morning. Man, it is Tuesday. Tuesday. That's right. I've lost track of the days. My mind has still been blown from that road trip because it was just like day after day after day. I had so much fun with my daughter, but you just lost track of where you were, what time it was, and so on. So I'm still getting myself back on track. Forgot we had a live stream last night, and last night Brian De La Rosa ended up getting a set of 4 new Jobu shot glasses, as well as Mel X Jr. Mel X, the new daddy, ended up getting one of the trophies that were over here. We've got one more for Friday night, and I got to go get out there and get building up some more. So we now sit 24 days, 11 hours, and 14 minutes away from the draft. And me, I hate doing mock drafts. Instead, what I like to do is I like to try and start coming up with players that I would love to get. Now, of course, we have the 10th pick in the draft. For me, I believe there's strength in numbers. One of the things that's worked so good for Bill Belichick is the fact that he didn't hold on to players too long until they literally have no value and they end up being released and you get nothing. His philosophy has always been get as many draft picks as possible. You know, coach those guys out, get them up there immediately, let them get paid elsewhere, and I'll get another draft pick to replace them with. You know, how crazy is it to see New England win a Super Bowl and turn around the next year and have 12 draft picks? And the thing about Bill Belichick is he doesn't always hit on the high draft picks. It's usually the lower picks that he does so well with, finding those great prospects that other people missed. And that's where you need to be with the Cowboys as far as drafting as well. You need as many picks as possible because, you know, you're going to have guys that end up being tacos. But if you turn around and find Dak Prescott's in the later rounds, well, it evens out. And the more opportunities you have, the better. So this is going to be one of those crazy drafts. And see, here's my philosophy of things. You have to look at positions. At the 10th pick, you're going to be able to get a premium player. But here's what the problem is. You're looking at the 49ers, for example. The 49ers trade all the way up to the 3 spot, right? They're going to get the 3rd best prospect at quarterback. Doesn't mean that's how he's going to end up being. I mean, we had, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, and a whole bunch of other guys drafted before Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott's better than all those guys. It doesn't mean that that's going to be the way their career's going to go. However, with taking what we know right now, you're going to, at best, get the number 3 best quarterback. Because quarterbacks, well, they don't last long. And even if you end up trading with the Falcons to get a quarterback, you're going to get the 4th best prospect out there. That's as high as you can go. And some positions are premiums. So in that first round, there's going to be quarterbacks, all the quarterbacks, probably maybe 5 in the top 10. They're gone. So if you need a quarterback, even though you're drafted in the first round, if you're not in the top 10, you're getting the 6th best, at best, prospect. Not really good. You want to increase your numbers as much as possible. So you always know quarterbacks, premium, left tackles, premium, edge rushers, premium. So if you're in the middle of the draft, at best, you're going to get the 2nd or 3rd best one of those prospects for those positions. Other positions aren't valued as high. For example, safety. Very rarely do you see a safety taken in the first round. You just don't. I mean, Jamal Adams was, but he is the exception more than the rule. Hence, you can get great safeties in the 2nd round, Cowboys. Interior defensive lineman is another one of those positions that you don't get a lot of those taken in the first round. Generally speaking, if you get one interior defensive tackle taken in the first round, it's a lot. Edge rushers, they're going to go. So, for example, when the Cowboys were drafting at the draft in Philadelphia, Taco was not one of the highest rated defensive ends out there. He was actually way down the list, but they were flying off the board. So you ended up taking like the fourth or fifth best prospect out there. So in my mind, you want to maximize getting top prospects more so than saying, I just need to get a quarterback or an edge rusher. You follow me? And for me, the position that you can really make some major damage with, especially if you have one of those teams that are quarterback needy that want to trade down and take that pick. If that opportunity presents itself, then I'm looking at doing this. Let's say hypothetically we move back to 19 or 20. We pick up an extra second-round pick. I'm going for J.C. Horn, and I might take one of my second-round picks and another pick and trade back into the first round, and I go for this guy, Christian Barmore. The Cowboys don't believe in interior defensive linemen. It's an afterthought. But I'm telling you, this is the key. Now, Christian Barmore is the number one prospect at interior defensive lineman, a one technique guy. He's 6'5", 310 pounds, and he is like the Canadian bulldozer. He is another guy that gets upfield. The guy is thick. He's hard to move. He's that roll-off dumpster that I like to talk about, full of dirt. He's coming downhill at you. He's explosive on his first step. He's that guy that can literally penetrate and get into a quarterback's face. He's a good run stopper. His numbers from last year, and this is where a lot of you guys are like, big deal. As a nose tackle, 37 tackles, 9.5 of them for tackles for loss, and 8 sacks. That's freaking unbelievable for an interior lineman. You're comparing, and what most of you will do is you'll compare him to an edge rusher. The edge rusher has more of an advantage. He's more out on a line, on an island, and basically everything's coming from the inside. As a nose tackle, you're getting hit by the center, the guard, getting double teamed, and the other guard. Or you get the fullback that's coming through and trying to do an influence block. You are constantly getting hit, and your job is to keep those guys off the linebackers. This guy is an absolute freight train, and you put him out there with the Canadian bulldozer, guys, you're going to wreak havoc. Now, he's projected to be a later first round draft pick. But for me, if you take this guy, you are getting the best interior lineman, the best prospect, as opposed to saying, we'll take the 5th best quarterback, or we'll take, the 3rd best tackle. You follow what I'm saying? You're getting the premier player in a position that has been weak forever. Let's take a look at Just Bombs Productions video here, highlights. Shout out to him because they've got some great highlights on him. And you'll see what I mean here with this guy. This guy is a beast. Oh, sorry. Here at Broke Ass Media. Let's try that again. This is Broke Ass Media. We don't have people that check all the stuff. It's just me. But watch the push this guy has. All right, here we go. Watch the push in the middle. Boom, boom, boom. Just relentless. He doesn't give up. And he gets there, he's going to wrap you up. Look at that body. Look at that. He's got the belly on him. Watch him. Boom. Look at that. Rocks my man and gets in there. You have to love a guy that can rock the center. And here we go again. Boom. Outside rush on an X stunt. Boom. Still gets there. The guy is big, but he's strong and he's got good hands. And he gets upfield and he's relentless. This is what you want from your defensive tackles. We didn't see that kind of stuff from when we played like Tyrone Crawford and stuff over in there and things. Look at that. Look at that. How would you like to be a quarterback knowing that guy is loose? Now, he's not perfect just by any means. He does have some weaknesses in here, but he's still young. He's still, oh my God. I'd love to see him falling on top of a court. Look at that. Watch. Look at this. This is just freaking insane. Look at that. Splits the double team. Splits the double team. He's got his arms motoring and everything in there, and he's just keeping those legs going. Does not give, oh man, look at hands active. Dude is an absolute positive beast. Now, the one thing that's a knock on him is he ended up being a little bit of a freewheeler. As in, sometimes, I got a better play than what the team has. So that's one of those things that he's got to keep disciplined, because sometimes you'll rush in a gap that's not your gap, and you'll end up leaving your teammates out to dry. We've seen that with Jalen Smith a few times. Sometimes he's a little premature in his look at that hit. Oh, I love that. He's a little premature in his gap assignments, as in he overshoots them, and that'll leave a gap. But that's things that can be fixed. And sometimes, because he is a high motor that gets a lot of penetration, the other problem with that is when you are a freight train going upfield, if it's a screen, it's hard to back off of that, being a big man, and being able to cover a screen play or to go ahead and go through. But I would rather have a guy in the middle who gets that push and really puts the pressure on the quarterback than have to worry about him being able to cover the screens, if you follow what I'm saying. And by doing this, by being able to blow up the middle, this would help the Cowboys in the run game big time, because now the running back is having to make a move in the backfield to before he can even get upfield and get started. And that's one of the things that teams learned with us against Zeke. If you can penetrate, you can change where that play is going. You can make the running back have to bend out more to the outside. You can end up basically destroying the play. You may not get the tackle, but you'll slow them down to the point where somebody else will. So these are the kind of guys that I, for one, would love to end up having on my team. And you definitely want to look at this. So in my mind, I've said this for years. You can believe it. You can say I'm an idiot. I don't care. But for me, the biggest bang you get for your buck is that interior defensive lineman. It helps on all three levels, because here's what it does. If you have a guy like that, it ends up meaning that I'm going to have to double team him. If I have to take two guys on him, that makes Randy Gregory, that makes D-Law better, because you can't double team both of them. Or if you do, that means you got maybe a tight end on Randy Gregory. The odds shift in your favor because it's 11 on 11. You don't have everybody that can get covered. Makes those guys better. If he's a guy who's blowing up the middle and they're having to double team him, then that means the guard is not getting off to the linebacker. That means the linebackers are free to roam and scrape to make the tackles, which is how the defense is designed. It's not designed for the interior linemen to make the tackles. They're not the guys to get the glory. They're the guys that have to do the dirty work. And you need a guy who's mean, nasty, with a bad attitude, that wants to punish a quarterback when he gets upfield. And because that guy is in the quarterback's face, that means the pocket is less effective. Because that push, that quarterback sees that guy, he gets scared. You may not see the defensive end coming around. And if you can step up, a lot of times that washes past. But if this guy is coming like a freight train at you, I've got to get rid of this ball quickly, which means your cornerbacks don't have to hold on to coverage as long. We've seen Aaron Rodgers back there for 7-8 seconds just waiting for somebody to free up, and boom, it's an easy pass. And that guy getting a push, that body acts like an eclipse. I can't see downfield like I want to, because this freight train is coming at me. I've got to move around. I've got to try and do something. And that leads to takeaways. For me, this is the guy you go for. and you're going to call me an idiot. You don't take an interior defensive lineman at 10. Well, you know what? We traded back and we got Travis Frederick, and they said you don't take a center in the first round. But I got to tell you, all those Pro Bowls and him stabilizing the offensive line, you got the number one prospect when you did that. And I would love to see history repeat itself and make a move like that for Christian Barmore. Team him up. Please team his ass up with the Canadian Bulldozer. And guys, that defense would get immensely better immediately. All righty, guys. I got work to do. Got to work on the outdoor studio. Got to do work in the workshop here because I got to get more of these racks and stuff together. I got to get more of these footballs together. If you're looking for any of the Joe Boo merchandise, check out our Man Cave shop. The link is actually in the description. And if there's not something there that you like or you need and you have an idea of something, go ahead, send me an email, and we'll see if we can hook you up on whatever it is you need. I'm Mark Holmes, and well...
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
Amen on that.